Hi, and welcome to the Grace-Based Christian Coaching Building a Faith-First Life and Business podcast for women who are ready to let go of their limiting beliefs and step into their most intentional and Christ-centered life possible. Today, you guys, I am so excited to be joined by Rebekah Scott. Beck is a coach, she is a podcaster, wife, and mother, and designer too. And she's got 15 years now of running multiple brands. Can you believe it? So, because of that, she definitely understands the need for order, for systems, and for fun in the everyday, which I love so much. After customers and moms kept asking her, "How do you do it?" I'll add myself to that list because that's amazing. Rebecca wanted to show them all the ways to run home and life and work well and with joy. She's created the Encourager podcast and Encourager Academy as tools for women who want to go from overwhelmed and unsuccessful to confident and decisive. Her systems cater to each individual's unique family makeup and create simple processes to help women take control of their roles and conquer their day with productivity and joy. Becca, welcome to the show.
Having me on.
Thanks so much for being here. We're so excited to get into all the things. So let's get to it. You mentioned you are an expert in creating systems for yourself, for food, which we all need,
hmm
for family, for
hmm
work, and home.
hmm
So, in getting to know a little bit more about you and what you're about, one, if there's anything else in the bio, this is a little double question, but if there's anything else
Okay.
that's not mentioned in your bio that you want to speak to, please share it with us. And then we love a system, we love
Yes.
focus. So tell us
Yes.
a little bit about each of those systems and then
Okay.
maybe a favorite tip for each.
Okay. First of all, I don't know that I'm an expert, but I'd always say this. I'm a practicing expert. Like, I'm
Uh,
still always subject to change. No, you're like, oh, okay, well, that season is definitely over. And now we're into this season, so we got to evolve. And so I always hesitate when anybody uses the word expert because I'm like, man, aren't we always evolving into it? I've definitely done the 10,000 hours. So I check mark there, but they're always subject to change. So when people always ask me the question, like, how do you do it? How do you run multiple brands? We farm and ranch and we have 4 kids here in South Dakota. So they're always like, wait, how are you doing this? And so I jumped on the microphone and started podcasting to tell people because I really felt like a punch gut from God about like, tell them, because I wasn't doing anything fancy. And so what I narrowed it down to is just like core systems that I was discovering. And these 5 systems came when I just started journaling a week where I was very, very, very chaotic. And I kind of had this breaking point moment where I was like, God, I want to do both. I didn't say I want to quit work until I have the kids raised and then I want to start. I just kept telling him, I want to do both. I feel like you've led me to create and I want to do both. So show me how. And he did. When I looked at this journal, I journaled everything I did that week. We're talking the dishes to sewing straps to getting ready for bedtime to spending time with family to cooking food. I took this whole journal and then I just started highlighting the areas that were similar. And that's where these 5 systems were born. And what's really beautiful about these, which is totally outside of me, is that God showed me this doesn't matter if you're married or not or kids or not. Everybody has these 5 pillars or systems, if you will. And those are your me system. So, how you take care of yourself, how do you get a full charge on? Think of yourself like a cell phone. If you didn't turn it in the night before and it was at 39% in the morning, when would it die? Probably like 10, right? So, what is it for you that gives you a full charge so you can be at 100% in the morning? And that'll look different for each one of us. So, that's your me system. Then there's the food system, and that's answering the question, what's for supper? Which is like the epitome of my entire life with feeding all these kids. And my ranching husband is like, okay, well, what's for supper? And so when we review that question all day long, first of all, I do not have the mental bandwidth to hold a question in my head that long when I need every last ounce to create because I create for a living. So I answer that question by 9 a.m. That's my pro tip for the food system is just answer the question, what's for supper at 9 a.m. And guys, you don't have to do anything else with it. If all you do is just answer the question, more power to you. But if you put out the cans that you're going to need or the meat that you're going to need, or you just take one extra step, a little bit more power to you. If you plan it the night before, whatever, but answer that question. So throughout the day, you don't re-answer. You don't keep, I shouldn't say re-answer. You don't keep asking the question, right? That's your food system. And then there's your family system. And this is asking the question, am I living the legacy that I also want to leave behind? So, Alexandra, we can we can romanticize the legacy that we want to leave behind. We're like, this is what it is. But do we actually practically live it day to day? And so when you break it down with your family, it's much easier to live it day to day. Well, then in fact, you will be leaving that behind. And so that's like picking 3 family values that you're going to concentrate on. Because I remember holding my son and thinking, I have to teach him everything that's out there. I have to teach him everything, and getting really overwhelmed by all the books and everything I was consuming. And then it dawned on me, I'm sure I listened to some podcast that told me, like, just pick 3 values and then be known for those. And so for the Scott side, we're known for being kind, humble, and honest. And it hangs up in our house. My kids finished, my 19-year-old, I'm not even kidding, finishes all of his prayers with, help me to be kind, humble, and honest. And what a legacy. So he knows, like, that's what mom and dad wanted. And I hope that's what they say behind our backs. So that's a simple way of doing your family system. And then there is your work system. And this is answering the question who, what, when, where, and why, which is several of them. So I cheated there a little bit. But we all know we have a work system, right? We have to do the work. And so when you individually answer those questions, why am I doing the work? And don't over romanticize that one either. If it's just to make $1 during the season, put that down. That's what it is, right? When are you working? This one, when people are juggling multiple passionate businesses, is really hard. They're like, well, I do it during nap time, or I do it during this. And so I really hone in on my coaching is like, no, we're going to decide a when, and that is flexible to change based on ages of kids and that sort of thing. So answer the questions in your work system: who, what, when, where, why. And then of course there's the home system. We have to do the laundry at one point. Apparently we got to clean houses and like boring stuff like that. But it's still something that exists. And so the home system is asking yourself the question, am I creating a sanctuary for my family? And don't get hard on yourself. Don't get hard. I'm not talking like temple version. I'm talking like the entryway at least has the shoes lined up, or your kitchen sink is clean. And here's your pro tip for the home system. You get to pick 2 areas in your home that you focus on daily, and the rest can have a dumpster fire if you want, depending on, your stage of life, right? So for me, the kids, and then you announce what these 2 areas are to your family, because at least in my experience with my friends and the people that I coach, it's usually the mom that's like hovering over the home, right? And so they know that if I've been gone for the day and I come home, 2 areas got to be picked up or mom's going to lose it. And that's the entryway, shoes, which by the way, we farm and ranch. So we have literally a pound of dirt in our entryway at all times. So if they can, like, even if they don't sweep, but they line up the shoes, mom will relax because that's where I come into the house. And then the kitchen sink has got to be clean. That's it. Like, if you just, even if the dishes are loaded but they're not started, I don't care. But the kitchen sink is dry, I feel like I have a safe place to start doing the rest of things. So ask yourself, in your home system, what 2 areas? You only get 2, guys. Don't complicate it. You only get 2. What would it be? And, I had somebody that I coached, she just wanted her, the rug that entered into her house, that had to be vacuumed. That was it. I'm like, okay, that's your thing. And her bed had to be made. She was like, those 2 places, that's her thing. That way, when you communicate it, you're not the only one who has to do it. A family member could also do it. Or, if you walk in and those 2 areas aren't done, you're like, okay, you know what? I just need 3 minutes and I'm going to do these 2 things and then I'll reset myself. So it's just a really simple hack for just an exhale out of like, these are the only 2 areas I get in the stage of life. Now, I have no doubt that when I am older, I'm going to have 60 steps and I'm going to be amazing at them. Right now, I got 2. And those are the 2 that I chose. So that's a little outline of the 5 systems and a couple of pro tips within them.
That is so good.
So simple. It's very simple, you guys.
The women of GSCC are movers and shakers and doers. So like that was a little bit on my end.
Okay.
I asked a fire hose question, but I know that they were just soaking that up and soaking it in,
Good.
as am I. Thank you. One, I love the origin story there. It's really beautiful, the way the Lord gave this to you. The full charge idea, so powerful.
Yep.
I love that picture. Someone had mentioned once, a lot of people feel a lot of ways about self-care, right? Like you
Yes.
said, baths and pedicures, like those are great. We
Yeah.
love them. But the way I loved it being said is like, what makes you you?
Yes.
And thinking about that for listeners, right? Like, what is going to give you your full
And
charge? Oh,
no shame in what your self-care version is, because in my years of coaching too, I always giggle because I'm like, somebody needs a nap and somebody needs a run. Those are two very separate things, but for that woman in particular, and for me in particular, I'm super high energy, as you could tell. People would shame me for wanting to go for a run or wanting to crank out burpees. And they're like, that's not really self-care. You have to redefine it. And I was like, okay. But then in some prayer, going, wait, that's how I am. That is my version. That's how I feel, like a supercharger. I get really clear when I get out all of the energy and adrenaline that I carry. And so that's just also permission, you guys. What is it for you that'll give you full charge? And sometimes it's with people and sometimes it's by yourself. So for me, it is by myself, but I have several people that are like, no, I like to go for a walk with a friend. Sweet. Awesome. That's your full charge. Go for it.
yeah, someone needed that permission slip
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Such a good ad. And what
Mhm.
I love about the theme with some of these others is and I think you spoke to it, the simplicity, right,
Yeah.
Rebecca? That
Yeah.
it three values. It doesn't have to be doing anything under the sun. Let's
Right.
simplify, and it's going to be that much more effective when you are
Mhm.
focused.
Yeah.
And really appreciate, well, one, that word sanctuary. That
Yes.
it's
Yes.
almost like it invites you into pursuit
Mhm.
of having to go in a different way.
Yes.
And I know I've been able
Yes.
to sit down and think about those two spaces and what a gift that focus is for not only myself, but really for my husband, my
Yes.
kids,
Mhm.
right? Like we're speaking
Mhm.
the same language. We
Yeah.
know what is expected and it just
Yeah. Yeah.
simplifies things for everyone and
Yeah.
increases the odds for success really too, right?
Yes. And also, guys, take the next step and ask your husband, what are those two areas for you? I think we'll be underwhelmed because when my husband, I was like, oh, okay, I can handle that. Like he just wants the entry door closed. He knows more about the heating and cooling of our home, and so when that door is open, he just rages. He's like, you gotta shut the door. And so that was his answer. I was like, okay, I could do that. I can handle that. So reverse it. Ask your husband. Mhm.
What an yeah, amen to that. Okay, so in sharing a little bit about these different categories, you had mentioned legacy, and I
Mhm.
love that's
Mhm.
something that we'll focus on a lot with clients here at GSCC. Share with listeners, Rebecca, a little bit about what you have learned over the years in doing legacy well.
Well, I think I've said this several times, you guys, but we sometimes over romanticize the word legacy, right? We're like, ah, this is the legacy I want to leave behind. And that seemed very overwhelming to me. So I just broke it down into practically to the three values. So I started with that. And then I actually wrote my obituary, which this is not an uncommon practice. Now people know about it. Before, people about fell over when I told them. I read mine 3 to 5 times a week. And that helps me to reverse engineer, am I doing the things that I say in my obituary? So for example, one of my sentences in my obituary says, people will leave her with a renewed sense of joy of what they too want to accomplish. And so in my encourager brand, it's like I want to encourage them so much that when they leave me, they're like, gosh, if she can do it, surely I can do it. And they're encouraging what they want to accomplish, not me. They don't want to live my life, but they're like, man, I have a renewed sense of what is possible and what I can do with joy. And so that's a simple way that I'm living my legacies or reading my obituary frequently and reminding myself, am I leaving this person better than when they came to me, whether it's for coaching or podcast listening, or even in my purse brand, when I go live, am I renewing people's energy and sense of what they can accomplish and sense of who they are? And then for my children in the legacy thing, it's all the conversations around, are we being kind? Are we being humble? Are we being honest? And the way that we came up with these values is I wrote a list of 10 qualities that I wanted. My husband wrote a list of 10. We looked at each list to decide, did we come together on any of them? We came together on one. So then we had to like makeshift, okay, well, what other ones are important? And so when the kids are, riding home from school and they are just going off about how the coach misbehaved or whatever, I'm like, okay, so listen to them out and then like, well, how would a Scott respond to this? And then they tell me. I'm like, ooh, I think we missed the mark on that one. How about we try again? And then they have a moment to take a deep breath out and go, if we were following our family values, I should have responded like this, Mom. So I'm also giving you permission, guys. Me ain't perfect either, right? So, and sometimes they nail it. And sometimes like, you're killing it, kid. You are such a kind Scott. That is awesome. You are such an honest Scott. And that can be a very difficult one, is the honesty piece of it, right? So those are just simple ways that we reverse engineer. Are we using our values and are we being known for those things? And it's interesting now, my son didn't talk about it, but my daughter Iverson is 15 and she is thinking through the values that she wants for her family. So for those that are parents of teenagers, guys, you know, they push back a little bit. So she thinks the kindness one, and she's probably the kindest of the bunch. She's like, yeah, but I don't know if that teaches kids lifelong lessons. So then there's all these conversations about what she wants for her family and how she struggles with how people are not kind to her. And so anyways, it's just opened up a lot of conversations too about, man, she's already planning the legacy that she wants to leave with her family. Yeah.
I love this. It's so beautiful. Two things as you were thinking about the obituary, familiar with the exercise, as you mentioned, but really appreciate the fact that you dial into it daily.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
pretty much essentially, that is the difference maker. And thinking about, well, there are just so many distractions. What is Tony,
Yes.
our friend Tony? If you all haven't listened to his podcast, Tony
So
Milberger,
good.
it's a phenomenal one. But he says something along the lines of, if we're not dedicated to our disciplines, we're
Yep.
destroyed by distractions,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
that
100%.
and so by dialing into this, like you had mentioned a couple times a week, it allows you to remember, what is this all about, and stay locked into that. Yeah. And then, yes. Okay. So you're sharing some of the pieces about your daughter and your husband. And I just love so much, like, Becca, thank you for sharing the reality of it too.
Oh, yeah.
That, it sounds lovely in our earbuds, but am I failing if I have a conversation with my husband and it doesn't come in the first iteration? Like,
Right.
keep keep going.
Yes.
That's a sign of normalcy, and just pursue consistency over
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
So you've described yields results and good, healthy conversations.
Well, I think if we're not honest when we are offering systems and when we are offering disciplines and stuff, if we're not completely honest of how it goes the first time, if we have someone listening that fails the first time, they're done, right?
Mm.
And I was like, that's exactly the opposite of what my obituary says. I'm like, wait, they're supposed to leave with a renewed sense of joy. So I'm going to give them a little perspective about how some things might go sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you have a passion for doing a lot and doing it well. You've got 4 kids,
Mhm.
you've got multiple brands.
Mhm.
That's amazing. What encouragement would you give to the listener, the woman who maybe has 1 or 2 kids, one
Okay.
business, and already
Okay.
feels like, I'm drowning a little bit?
Okay. It's the art of the percentage. Okay. So I sew and design for a living, you guys. I also have a purse and accessory brand, and that I'm a small manufacturer. I mean, sometimes in some seasons I'm a medium manufacturer, you guys, but I sew custom purses where you tell me what you want and I sew it up. And I have a team of about 12 helping me do that. So systems are really important for us because we literally manufacture. So the purse gets cut out, then it gets sewn and blah, blah, blah. So I applied my manufacturing background to my home background and to my podcasting brand. So systems, you'll probably, if we were taking a tally, I probably already said it a dozen times. They're just very important to us. But if you are like, Becca, I cannot start a system right now. I can barely concentrate on 2 kids and working 2 hours a week, right? The art of the percentages. So here's what I tell you to do. You can 1% anything. You know when you're doing a workout and they say, you only got 20 seconds left. You could do anything for 20 seconds. You do it, right? Or when you're listening to someone profound and they say, you just need 20 seconds of courage. And you're like, that's all I need, right? Okay, so same concept. This will be written on my tombstone, I swear. It'll say she 1%ed everything. When I started any of these brands, or any of these children's, by the way, it was a 1% thing. So you don't write you don't get inspired for the book and you write like 6 chapters in 6 days, right? Because life happens and the toddler has to go in for an infection or whatever it is, right? But you probably wrote one sentence, one inspiring sentence in there. That's 1%ing it. And so if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, I can't handle X percentage, but you can handle 1%. So what is that for you? Is it one phone call? Is it one email? Is it one brave prayer? Is it one journal entry about what it is? You can handle the 1%. Okay. And then my other favorite percentage is this 80%. And if you can see me, I'm raising my hand. This is my favorite one. This is for all the perfectionists out there who think that they have to do it amazing, or for the ones that are starting that think they need to start where somebody else has like already been in it for 15 years. Hence myself, you guys, you cannot do this, right? You can't do it at my percentage yet. So 80% is the permission that you will take your project, your goal, your habit, your business to only 80%. And then that is still in the excellent field. That's still in the excellent field. Every teacher will tell you that, right? That's still excellent. Then be done or decide like, hey, I can finish the next 20%, or quick take data. Do I need to, or is this complete for this season? Take a look at your family. If everybody is burnt out, you're done. Okay? You're done, right? But if everybody is okay, everybody's still been fed, you didn't serve mac and cheese 3 times this week, no shame if you did, then you can go another 20%, but you don't have to. Excellent is still a wonderful zone to be in. And so as you dial in your systems and your disciplines, like we talk about, you'll be able to take some of these to 100%. But I am still practicing 80% in 100% of my projects and goals because it's such a beautiful rule to just stop, evaluate. Are we done? What does my family look like? What do I look like? Do I feel like I need to be done? I got a heaviness on my chest. This project needs to be complete. I'm at 80%. We are done. Or do you have a little bit left in the tank?
That is so.
It's such a good permission, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So talk about overtime, perhaps to give. So some of these women, I feel like that's such a phenomenal tip to continue to do today and to continue in the weeks and years ahead. Perhaps let's say from the perspective of like hope, what is possible? Talk a little bit about how your capacity has expanded over time. What's expanded it?
So what's expanded? Man, my faith. My faith is expanded in like what I thought would be this little crafty. I traveled on the weekends in the summer to create something cool, has developed into 12 people working for me, and we travel all over for these brands. So my faith has increased because in my tiny humanness, I was faithful with the 1% that I had and the gifts that I was given. Each one of these children going, God, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And he would keep reminding me, like, I made you for systems and I know who you are and I know how driven you are. We're going to make this work. And so that has definitely expanded when I thought I was going to fail at something, turning it over to God and being like, okay, I'm not sure how this is going to go, but if it doesn't go well, you'll still teach me a lesson about how to fix it and how to do better the next time. So honestly, that's how I would answer is like, what has expanded is my faith and my ability to say that's enough. The 80%, like, okay, that's enough. Because I wrecked myself in the first 5 years of business trying to get it to the 100%. You can't do it. And I don't know if, and this was, I started my business long before social media was so big. I love that I learned this concept before social media because you're never done on social media, right? Especially when you're promoting brands and businesses, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, thank the Lord, I just do my videos that I have written down and I never have the extra 20% for social media. I'm like, I'm never going to do the extra 20%. So that has expanded my ability, my faith has expanded, and my ability to be done when it's appropriate.
So in working your multiple businesses, over a decade and a half, I'm sure you have learned a thing or two about marketing, about
Yeah.
serving your client well.
Yeah.
What, if any, lightning round advice can you give in either of those areas for listeners today?
Well, I wrote down when we did our little pre-interview chat here, I try to concentrate on the one customer or the one client. So in my coaching and podcast world, it's one client, and in my purse and accessory world, it's one customer. And so marketing is so awesome. I do love marketing, but it also can be very overwhelming. And so when I start to get in that squirrel brain, like, oh my gosh, I'm serving X amount of people on Instagram and X amount of people on Facebook, I go, wait. And it used to be the cliche thing was the avatar. Who's the one woman out there who wants to create something really beautiful and doesn't know where to start? I'm talking to her. So when I am marketing, I think, okay, I just use my own name. What does Bekah want right now? Like, she wants a small bag because she has graduated from her baby bag. And she wants a really fun lining because she's not bold enough to wear something bold on the outside. So she wants it on the inside. She wants something subtle on the outside. So for me, marketing, when I get overwhelmed with it, then I go, wait. What does the one customer want right now? Also, when I haven't been thinking about the one customer and I just thought about a big group, I didn't sell as many because I was trying to be too people pleasing to too many people. So figure out your one customer and your one client. And so my niche for my coaching brand is actually one-on-one coaching, because each one of us is built so uniquely that in a group I can do it. And I've done it for several years. We've coached in groups several times, but my favorite is the one-on-one woman. So I can say like, no, that system's not going to work for you because you just told me that you hate working on anything for an hour. So we're going to develop a different plan for you. So when I think of the one customer, that helps with my marketing or my one client. Yes. Yes.
I have a special passion for one-on-one too, for that exact reason. You can,
And I watch
just,
their face come alive for the one thing that I'm like, wait a minute.
that's
You
right.
just mentioned writing and your whole face came alive. Tell me about that. So that, and then that's when you're channeling God too. You're like, God, what are you trying to tell me? What's going on here?
And the piece about that, yes, Avatar is good, but just funny enough, in the past week or two, I was talking with a one-on-one client, and we talked about thinking of like an actual real life human being, like having a specific individual in mind can take it that much further as you think about who you're speaking to, what you're saying, what you're doing.
Yes.
So if you can try that out and you're a business owner, give that a go. There's really something there.
Yeah.
Okay, so finding harmony. I just recorded a podcast before we hopped on about navigating work and motherhood with excellence. And this was one of the phrases that I had used because it's so beautiful, right?
Yes.
Work-life harmony.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that I had heard it explained is like thinking about a symphony. You hear one and then another, and it's beautiful all together.
Yes. Yeah.
So work-life harmony between home and work, this is one of your sweet spots.
Yeah.
It sounds lovely, doesn't it? In theory. Talk about what this actually looks like, Bekah, for you.
Okay. Well, if this was video, I have a huge opening to my studio space. So my studio is built onto our farmhouse. And this is just a very practical thing that we did is I had to fight tooth and nail to get the opening as wide as I wanted it for this addition onto our farmhouse. And he said, no, just put a door in it and then you can close it at night, and be done with work. And that did not sit well with me. So I bet for 3 nights, I thought in my head, I'm like, why does my gut keep turning, which is my God organ? It was because for me, the way that I've raised the children, this is a newer house than when I started, was so that the children never thought of it as like, this is mom's work. It's outside of us. This is part of mom. The work that I've been given is because God has gifted me in it. So that opening is big so that my kiddos never thought like, okay, I'm entering into mom's studio. This is her work zone. They come in and out a million times a day, you guys. But that in perspective, you guys, my job as a seamstress can be interrupted all the time. If you have a job where you're writing that, this might not apply to you, but that's a simple way for me that I applied harmony is like work and home life were very fluid because of what I do. Now, when I'm podcasting, that looks a little different, right? Because you can't be interrupted, but that's a simple way that I've enjoyed harmony. And then also involving my kiddos in the business process and the business conversations. So when I am shipping at night, they help me and we have awesome conversations, sometimes around business, but usually around their own lives. And that can be harmonized together where they realize like, this is we call it my harvest season because we farm and ranch. So that's a very easy thing for them to understand. When dad's in the middle of harvest, he gets home at 2 or 3 in the morning. When mommy's in the middle of harvest, I might get done at midnight because I'm shipping or sewing until that hour. And so when they can understand like, oh, this is a season and this will end, that's harmonizing both the work life and the home life, like these two moving together. And then they know also like another simple harmony thing is like, they know for our food system right now, it's going to be crockpot meals for probably at least 4 weeks because mom cannot spend any time in the kitchen because she's busy sewing for all the Christmas stuff.
Your shares on that as a mom with preschoolers, there's just so much joy and emotion in the best way. Thank you for giving me lots like for y'all. That's beautiful.
And also like permission for you guys. The harmony might mean backing off on the work system to only accomplish 20 hours a week. And believe me, don't shame yourself on the only word, but you can get a lot done in 20 hours. That's still harmony for that season.
Yes. All right. Hey, Bekah, let's finish on a fun one.
Okay.
As I was popping through your website, I came across a familiar face. You interviewed Bob Goff.
Love this human being.
Tell us a little bit about that backstory and maybe a favorite part of the conversation.
Oh my gosh, he's one of my favorite people in the world. I feel like he's the closest to Jesus on earth that we get. And I got one-on-one coaching from Bob Goff, and it was an amazing thing. It was a gift. from God. I mean, I did pay for it, you guys, but there's a really unique story behind it. So Bob and I are friends. Like, he just texted this week to cheer me on. He's just the coolest human being ever. And I wanted somebody really encouraging to serve as my coach as I went through a real ugly phase of business. And he came to mind. So I sent a little email on their contact page that was like, does Bob do any one-on-one coaching? And then, so that's a little bit of the background story there. And for whatever reason, he picked this tiny South Dakota kid. It was amazing. And one of the phrases that God uses with me frequently is the word kiddo. And I'm not sure why, but when I hear the word kiddo, I know God is speaking through someone or he himself. And on the first call with Bob, he said, "Hey kiddo, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, jeez." So I don't know that I have any memorable moments from the podcast with him in particular, but he's the one that taught me a lot about legacy and living joy right now. You know the phrase, like, if it's funny later, it's funny now. He's also one that I borrow that a lot from, like, well, I could stress out about this later, or I could stress out about it right now, but what is that going to serve me? So, like, how do I seek out joy in giving? And so with Bob Goff, everything I always remind myself is like dreaming big. Oh my gosh, if you guys ever wanted permission to dream big, he's the guy, right? He's written a ton of books on dreaming big, but he breaks it down very practically how to do it. He also has a lot more connections than the rest of us, but he encourages me to dream big at 1%. That's also where that whole concept I really started to get into is like the things that he's accomplished. If you ever heard him speak or listen to anything, read all of his books, you guys, he did it at 1%. He just started. He just dug in one tiny thing at a time.
What a cool way to bring that all together.
Yeah.
Rebekah Scott, where can listeners find you who need more of your joy and your wisdom in their lives?
Yes. You can go to theencouragerpodcast.com. I've got about 300 episodes over there, including, I think, 3 with Bob Goff. He's amazing. And if you want a really pretty purse that's both really stylish and super organized, go to designyourownpurse.com. And then I'm on all the socials, The Encourager Podcast or Rebekah Scott Designs.
Fabulous. Becca, thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, thanks for having me on.